Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 2, which is Potty Training 101. Before I get into it, I just want to clear up a few things. At the end of episode 1, I mentioned that by the time you'd be seeing it, I'd be out of the hospital and that's when I would upload it. Well, that's not what happened at all. I was able to upload it within maybe 2 hours after recording it because the hospital had amazing internet. In fact, everything about the hospital was amazing. The doctors, the nurses, the staff, even the food. The food was great. I was presented with a menu. I mean, everything was on there. I mean, so much variety, so much choice. I could have anything I wanted for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, cooked exactly the way I wanted it. I'm talking good stuff, good stuff. So yeah, and it was McNeil Hospital. I have to mention them. McNeil Hospital. It's in the suburb of Chicago. Just an amazing place, amazing people. They really, really care. They took excellent care of me. Now, I was very, very dehydrated to the point where it was very difficult for them to even draw blood that first day. I've never had that problem. I'm a regular blood donor. So, yeah. So, I am definitely staying hydrated. Definitely staying hydrated. Okay, the other thing is, my COVID test came back negative. I do not have COVID. That's a good thing. So no COVID. I was dehydrated. They took care of that. Um, been back on the road actually for a couple of days now, and I'm in Tennessee. I'm in a little town. What's the name of this town? I'm in a great little town called Kimball, Tennessee. And I've been here all day, and I'm spending the night here, and I'm gonna explore a little bit tomorrow. This is just a really, really cool town. I'll go out, take a few pictures, stuff like that, as I make my way back south to Florida. All right. So, potty training 101. So I have to tell you, learning to communicate with animals did not come natural to me at all, at all, at all. I had a wonderful teacher. Her name was Jade. She was a little chihuahua, so patient, so loving, and I was a horrible student. Okay, so my ex-girlfriend had two chihuahuas. This is like maybe two girlfriends back, two chihuahuas, and we didn't really break up. She got a job in another place. She moved out, whatever, and she said, "Can you take care of my dogs for me?" I said, "Of course, I'd be happy to." All right, because I'd grown really fond of these two chihuahuas. They were from the same litter, two sisters from the same litter. And Joy was a little bitch. Okay. Now, children, a bitch is a female dog. You should never call a human a bitch, even if they're acting like one, because it's not cool, it's not nice, it's not polite, it's hurtful. Okay, so don't call a human a bitch. You'll hear people say, don't do it. It's just not cool, not cool. Now, parents, you see what I did there? Talk to your kids. Be honest with them. Just tell them the truth. They can take it. They understand, So nothing has to be a mystery and stuff like that. So back to the story. So Joy was just a little bitch. She would never make eye contact with me. Rarely. She'd always look at my hands like, got a treat, got a treat, got a treat, no treat. Okay, bye. And she'd take off. So unless she understood that I was her food source, right? So she'd come to me for food, or I'd bring food to her. She would come if I had a treat. She would come if I called her, and she anticipated being, like scratched, petted, that kind of thing. And she appreciated that, But once I was done petting her, she had no interest in me. Jade, on the other hand, what a sweetheart. I was in love with that dog, and she loved me. I know she did, because she showed me a lot of love. She would make eye contact with me. She'd look at me like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? She really wanted to please me, make me happy. Or at least that's how I perceived it. But she was actually trying to communicate with me. That I didn't quite understand. I understand much better now. Okay, her making eye contact with me was a way of and she had other ways of communicating. Dogs communicate via vocalizations, barking, of course. They communicate through body language, especially their tails. A dog's tail can tell you quite a lot. The position of the tail, up, sideways, down, between the legs, wagging, dogs are very, very expressive with their tail. They communicate a lot more with their tail than by vocalizing. But other behaviors that they do too, their general posture communicates quite a lot of very valuable information. That's how they communicate. So she really tried to teach me. She really tried. And I can just imagine a conversation between Jade and Joy. And, Jade would be like, Joy, I really love this guy. And Joy would be like, but he's stupid. He doesn't get it. He's, how you gonna love him? He's stupid. And Jay would be like, but I know if I'm patient, he'll get it. He'll understand. Because I love him. I could just see these two puppies, because they were inseparable, having these really deep conversations about me. Stupid old me. Right? So when the concept of potty training a dog, we humans are so arrogant. We're the only animal that walks around wearing a diaper for like a year or more, right? Because we don't know how to poop. We're born just pooping all over ourselves. Dogs instinctively know to never poop where they eat and never poop where they sleep. They just don't do it. They will hold it. Even puppies will hold it rather than poop in a confined space. When they finally do go, it's because they can't hold it anymore. So potty training a dog is simply working with that instinct. So the human is not training the dog. The dog is training the human. The dog is teaching the human to be consistent and to be early. It's really that simple. Potty training a dog is simply getting up early, letting them out. They do their business, they come back inside. The only part that's really training is for example, if you want your dog to poop in a specific place in the yard, you take them to that place, you wait for them, you encourage them to do their business, and when they do, you give them positive reinforcement. That's really it. That's the specific place. But you're not teaching them how to poop or anything like that. That's very arrogant. Humans are very arrogant species. So now the thing about puppies, and it kind of gets a little gross. Now, as a transporter, I cannot transport puppies that are less than 8 weeks old. That is the law. Okay? They're much too fragile. But an 8-week-old puppy has a very peculiar behavior that may surprise the owner. Puppies will eat their own feces, especially that young. Between 8, it kind of depends on the dog, the species and all that. Between 8 and 10 weeks, they typically will stop at 10. Again, it depends on the dog. But they will eat their own poop. And it's really disgusting. And as long as it's done hygienically, it's perfectly safe and absolutely natural. Why do puppies eat their own poop? Well, there's really 2 reasons. There may be more reasons, but there's 2 main reasons. Number 1, when that puppy eats that dry dog food, chews it up, the dry puppy food, it becomes a slurry in their system. It comes out the other side as a slurry. Kind of has the consistency of applesauce, right? And I've seen a puppy with food in its line of sight, a bowl of food, stop, poop, turn around and just try to slurp up that slurry. It's gross. It's really disgusting. But what the puppy's doing, that food is pre-digested. That's coming out the other side. And so by eating it a second time, it's a lot easier to digest the second time, and they get more nutrients out of it. 9 minutes? Okay. So they get more nutrients out of it. And so that's Mother Nature kind of doing its thing. Okay. The other thing too is that poop does have some good bacteria in it. And so when they eat it a second time, it reinforces the natural flora in their digestive system. Kind of like a human eating probiotic, like a probiotic shake or yogurt or whatever, right? You're eating live, active cultures. So it's kind of the same thing that the puppy's doing. And they outgrow that very, very quickly. And soon, actually, you'll see a change in the poop where it's like dog poop, and they will not eat that. They don't eat that, and but the stuff that they eat, it has a very different consistency. It's not like regular dog poop, but it's still disgusting to see. Okay, now, like I said, it's perfectly natural as long as it's hygienic. A puppy should always be put in a perfectly sanitized crate. So if it's in its crate, and it should always be alone, never put more than one puppy in a crate, ever, 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 ever. Okay, so if it poops in its crate, first of all, that's your fault because it held it as long as it couldn't hold it anymore. Naturally, it will not want to poop in its crate, but you put it in a position where it can't hold it anymore. So it will eat that, and that's perfectly safe as long as the crate itself was clean and sanitized like it should be. Okay. Now, when I do my best to never give puppies the opportunity to poop in their crates. I actually want to see them poop live in a playpen that's lined with like a training pad. Okay, never on the ground. The problem with a puppy pooping on the ground is that when it eats that, it's not just eating the poop, it's eating other stuff. For example, when I transport a puppy, I'm going to stop at rest areas. Well, do you know how many dogs have been in that same rest area? There's poop everywhere. Traces of poop. You don't see it, but there's poop every square inch of that rest area. In the it's called the pet walk, is lined with poop particles, every square inch. And so they're going to be absorbing the poop of other dogs, little particles of poop from other dogs, and any other stuff from the ground. And that's very, very dangerous and potentially deadly to your dog. That's why I line my playpens with a pad so that the puppies never actually touch the ground. Okay? And actually, that's the only use I have for training pads. I never line my crates with training pads because puppies will tear that up and eat it and possibly ingest some of that plastic, right? So I only use training pads in a playpen where I can actually see them playing, and if they do start to tear it up, I will, give them something else to play with and, distract them from that. So that's an important thing. Puppies eat their own feces. So never put multiple puppies in the same pen, or even even in the same playpen, because they'll eat each other's poop, and that's cross-contamination. Now, if they're puppies from the same litter, I'll let them play together and watch them carefully. And as they go to maybe eat their poop, I will move the playpen or clean it or whatever. I try not to let them eat even their own poop. I try not to let them do, because it's just kind of gross. But I won't let puppies from different litters play together when I'm transporting them. I just don't do that because, if one puppy's sick and it's asymptomatic, it may still be able to transmit disease to another puppy. So I put them in separate playpens, and while they're playing, I sanitize their crates. So there's that. What else? So now, if your puppy is pooping inside the house, that's your fault. You're not letting it out early. Also, do small dogs, small breeds like Chihuahuas, Pomeranians and stuff. Well, they have a very small digestive system, and we tend to feed our dogs the way we eat. So we know the average Westerner, American, whatever, or Mexican, Canadian, we eat a lot, more than we need. And so we tend to overfeed our dogs. A small handful of food is plenty for a dog, especially if you're going to feed it twice a day. If you simply leave a bowl of food filled to the top, that's way too much food for a small breed. And it will just eat. And my two little Chihuahuas, I used to call them poop dispensers. They would poop all day long. And I couldn't, okay, that's the 15-minute mark. So they would poop all day long, and I couldn't understand why. And then my friend Karen, who used to breed dogs, shout out to Karen. Hi, Karen. She explained to me that, well, it's not the dog's fault. They can't hold it. So as they're eating, it has to come out. Even their intestinal tract is considerably short. It's not proportionate. There's that, because ours is very, very long and windy. Theirs is not quite straight, but it's not. They don't have a windy path as windy as ours, or as, you know. So dogs in general, even bigger breeds, have a shorter digestive tract than a human does. But a bigger dog can hold its poop, you know, through the day and wait till evening to poop. I mean, don't put your dog through that. It literally is holding it as long as it can, and that's really not necessary. Walk your dog twice a day, if it's a mature dog. And puppies should be allowed to play, I mean, really, I mean, as much as possible, as much as they want to play, especially depending on the breed. So we've talked about puppies eating their own feces and how that's normal but possibly problematic, especially if you have multiple puppies involved. We've talked about small breeds. They can't hold it as long. So if your dog is pooping, let's say it's pooping on the carpet, same place every day, middle of the living room, that dog is communicating to you. It's telling you, listen, you need to let me out. The dog is not even attempting to hide it. It's telling you, look, dude, wake up. Do that. Wake up. Get your ass up out of bed. Open the door. Let me out. And he's trying to get your attention. So the dog is trying to train you. Now, if the dog is trying to hide it, like in a corner or something, it's giving up on you. It says, you know what? I guess this human wants me to poop inside, so I'm going to poop in the corner where I don't have to see it. Because clearly, the human isn't bothered by my poop. Let me poop in the corner. Okay, so even those things where it's pooping in the room is the dog actually communicating with you. So now, yeah, so there's that. Bigger breeds. Now you get an adult dog and it's pooping. Kind of the same thing. The dog is telling you, the dog will hold it as long as it can. It does not want to poop inside. And also too, why do dogs poop on the carpet and not on the tile? Because dogs use their paws and they sense the difference in the surface. For example, if a dog has a choice between pooping on concrete or grass, it's going to prefer to poop on grass. It senses that the difference in the surface communicates something to the dog. Dogs prefer to poop on, I guess, a softer surface like grass, as opposed to gravel or rock or concrete. Okay, so inside your house, think about it. What's the closest thing to grass? Carpet. Okay, and also carpet is going to hold the odor. So if a dog poops one time on the carpet, well, that odor is in the carpet. It's like, oh, that's the pooping spot. So there's a lot of that going on too. So anyway, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions about potty training a dog, or if you have any problems with a specific dog, you have a specific situation that I haven't covered, please put it in the comments. Let me know. I'll be happy to address it and tell you what that possibly means, and outline a solution for you. There's a solution for everything. Dogs are extremely responsive. They're highly trainable, super easy to train. And usually if a dog does not appear to be trainable, the problem is not the dog, it's the human. Okay? So put your questions below, suggestions for anything else, and anything else you'd like to know about puppies or dogs, I'm happy to help. And of course, please recommend this video to your friends. I am a pet transporter, so if you need a pet transported, let me know. If you're thinking of buying a puppy, please ask a lot of questions before. I've seen all kinds of breeders, tremendously great breeders who I would highly recommend. And I've seen some really shady people that operate puppy mills, and it's heartbreaking. It breaks my heart to even interact with someone who's running a puppy mill. I don't want to do it. I will not do it if I can, but if you're hiring me to go pick up a puppy somewhere, I don't know where I'm going until you give me the phone number and I contact the person and I get there. I can do a lot of investigation for you before. I offer, specifically for puppies, a puppy protection guarantee. If you're buying a puppy from someone, like maybe you saw an ad on the internet, of course, I'll give you a price for the transport. When I will communicate with the breeder. Once you hire me, that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. If I suspect that the breeder is not reputable, I will let you know, and you can completely back out of the deal. You don't have to pay me, and you certainly should not pay a breeder who's running a puppy mill. If you gave your deposit, it's probably better to lose that deposit. If you can get it back, great. If not, forget the deposit. Okay, you don't want a dog that's coming from a puppy mill. You just don't. Trust me on that. So let's say, for example, you're hiring me to deliver, transport a dog across the country, maybe from Florida to New York, and we agree on $400. I'm just pulling that number out of the air. It'll depend on a lot of things. So you're paying me $400. I go and I find that, the puppy doesn't look very healthy. I will let you know. I work for you at this point. If this is a puppy that I wouldn't want for myself, I don't think you should have that puppy. I'm not going to take your $400 to transport this puppy so that the puppy dies a week or two later. That's heartbreaking. I would never, ever want that for anyone. So my guarantee is, if I see the puppy's not healthy, if I think that the breeder is not reputable, if I see anything wrong at all, if the breeder doesn't have papers, vaccination papers, you need to know that before you pay the rest of the money. And if you choose for any reason to back out of the deal, because it's always your choice, guess what? You don't have to pay me either. Okay, all I ask is $40 to cover my expenses. Why $40? Well, because I'll drive as far as 200 miles to go pick up a puppy. Okay, it's not always 200 miles. It may be a lot less, but I'm willing to drive that far to pick up a puppy to bring to you. So that $40 simply covers my expenses. And if I have no expenses, you don't have to pay me anything. I'm happy to do that because I don't want you to pay and have buyer's remorse because the puppy was abused or anything like that. That's a horrible experience, and that's why I offer a puppy payment protection guarantee. Okay, if you hire me to, and I have lots of great breeders that I can recommend. If you want to buy a puppy that I know is gonna be a loving and lovable member of your family, that's gonna bring you joy for many, many years. All right. Anyway, that's it for today, and I look forward to episode 3. Hopefully, I'll have some nice adventures to tell you about. But we're in between storms. We've had 2 storms already. There's a 3rd storm coming. These are like the storm of the century, and it's been bad. I saw some flipped over RVs, some burnt out vehicles. I mean, dozens of cars stranded on the road. It was bad. What you saw in the news, in reality, it was actually worse than that across the country. Incredibly bad. So kind of been keeping a low profile and driving very safe, driving very slow, just to get to make this video for you. All right. Anyway, peace and love, and take care. See you in the next video.